Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Chase here at Rocky Mountain. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's spotlight is on the Pod K8 3.0 knee brace. Knee braces are an expensive item that you're buying. There's a lot of cool details that go into these, so we are going to be very thorough today. I'm going to give you as much information as possible on the 3.0 to help you decide if this is the knee brace that you want to take home. I had a lengthy conversation with the people at Pod that are responsible for the design and development of this. I got to ride in the old K8 2.0. I spent a couple seasons in that knee brace, so I'll give you some of my feedback on that because some of the things are kind of similar. However, if you're familiar with the K8 2.0 and you see this, it is completely new. It looks completely different hinge. Well, hinge is similar but different in some subtle ways. I'll explain that, but pretty much everything on this brace is going to be new. And there's a lot of changes that they made that I am very happy to see. If I don't answer any questions you might have as I go through and I do this video, please leave those down below. We'll help to get those answered. Remember, we have our fit guarantee, and this is very important with any knee brace. When you buy one, you want to make sure that it fits you correctly. So use the sizing charts that are given. Measure your leg. Every brand is going to have you measure it a little bit differently. And if you get a size, however, and if you're like, you know what, I need to go up or I need to go down one size, we'll give you free shipping both ways on your first exchange to make sure you get the size and the fit that is going to be best for you. And namely, you want to make sure that's going to fit you well here on the inside and outside of the knee. You want to make sure that you're not having too much wiggle room there. You also don't want to be too tight because that's going to chafe. But what's nice though is that Pod does give you two sets of these inserts right here on the inside of the knee. And what I like too is that they've updated this so it's not just a piece of foam that has Velcro on the back. Instead, these actually clip in and out. So it's a cleaner look. You don't have to worry about the Velcro getting worn out. You just pop these out, pop these in to adjust the size and the fit here at the knee. It's very simple to do. With this brace, many years in the making with the development, they've worked with several universities, and a couple of the key features that really stand out that they really wanted to address with this new version. And the main one is going to be, I would say here, with their lower cuff. So it's an active, adaptive cuff down here at the bottom, very different from their last brace. With the K8 2.0, this was just all hard, rigid carbon down here. Now they have this adaptive lower cuff, and the reason for this is to help reduce rotational injuries. We all know about hyperextension, your lateral injuries, but most of your knee injuries actually come from twisting movements. You might just catch your leg in a rut and it twists your leg. That can cause a bad knee injury. And so what you want a knee brace to do is to be able to rotate with your leg and absorb some of those forces. And something really cool that Pod does is they actually have actual legs that they 3D scan. And I'm gonna brag a little bit because I'm kind of an outlier when it comes to fit because I have very large calves. I have just over a 16-inch calf. So for me, when it comes to fitting the knee brace, I'm pretty picky there. So they actually asked me to do a 3D scan of my calf up to just above my knee, and they utilize that. But they take these jigs, and they can put the knee brace on the jig, and they can test it, and they can flex it, and they can bend it in different directions and do all that to see how much force the knee brace is taking away from the rider's leg and knee. Now, coming back to what I was talking about with this lower cuff, the reason that this is so important and why it's new is when you put this knee brace on and you cinch down these lower straps, you want this knee brace, and you see how much flex is there. Well, you want that to be able to wrap around the lower part of the leg as much as it can. Here's why. If the knee brace were just to stay exactly how it is now, let's pretend my arm is my leg. Well, if I were to catch my leg on something and I twist, my leg's just gonna twist inside the brace. The brace isn't really doing much. But if you can get that lower cuff and that brace to sit tight and rotate with your leg, now that brace is going to help take away a lot of that force. And the number that they gave me is that with this new design, they were able to reduce the twisting forces over 50% to the knee. So that's a pretty cool claim that Pod is making with this knee brace. And aside from that, when we talk about the fit, a couple other updates that I am very happy about is one, just the overall height of this brace. The K8 2.0, as much as I liked it, it was comfortable. Probably I'll say too, one of the most durable knee braces that I've used. The foam lasts a very long time. Nothing on my brace wore out after 2 full seasons of using it. However, it was a very tall brace, and at 5'7", it just felt like my whole leg from the bottom of my shin all the way up above my knee to the mid thigh. It just felt like the brace was just a little too big, a little too cumbersome. If you're a taller rider, it's probably not a big deal. But this one is a full inch shorter. That makes me happy. So it's not gonna feel as big to me when I have it on. Another little update too is that you notice that when this brace is sitting up, most knee braces you're gonna see are just gonna go completely vertical. Pod actually will always have just a little bit of bend to the brace when it's completely maxed out like this. And the reason that they do that is they know that, look, you want to avoid hyperextension injuries. And they know that when you're riding, even when you're standing up and you're in really that rider attack position, rarely are your legs fully just completely locked out. And so they're okay with having just a little bit of bend there when that brace is completely vertical like that. But what's nice is they do include extension stops, just like they have in the past, these little inserts that just go into the hinge. And you can see it's 10 to 20, and then they have a 20 to 30. So it's a progressive stop. It's not just a hard stop where the brace reaches a certain point and just completely locks out on you. Instead, it'll hit a certain point and continue to have just a little bit of give to it. That's why it's gonna be 10 to 20 degrees. So if you want the brace to stop before it gets to what it comes out of the box, you can put those in to adjust. That's gonna be rider preference. Maybe you've had a knee injury in the past, you wanna avoid hyperextension, you would put those inserts in. The other update to the fit is now when you put this on, it sits deeper on the knee. And what I mean by that is that these pads right here that touch the outside and the inside of the knee will sit farther in. And the reason for that is, and I've experienced this, when you put a knee brace on, with any knee brace I've ridden in, when you're sitting down, it's not really the issue. But what I've noticed is sometimes when you're standing more upright, you almost sometimes feel like these pads here aren't even really sitting where you want them. They're sitting too far forward. So they made it to where this is gonna sit deeper so the brace is gonna be in the right position as much as it possibly can, which I think is pretty nice. Okay, the hinge system. So actually, let's talk about the frame real quick. I mentioned the adaptive lower cuff at the bottom, which is new. And then it's a forged carbon frame, so it is very, very strong. They do have a little bit of an adaptive cuff up here at the top of the thigh, again, just to help that bend just a little bit to conform to your leg. But as you work your way down, the knee cup protector, so full coverage here, CE level 2 for impact, so great impact protection there. I do want to point this out. Pod made a running change to this brace. So they launched it, and on the inside here of their kneecap protector, on this inner piece, you have this red material. It's a viscoelastic material, and it does a great job with impact absorption. That's why they're using it. However, this outer piece also had that viscoelastic material. They were running to an issue with when riders were bending their leg and then they would go to straighten it back out, that material was catching on itself and was preventing the knee brace from extending. Now, if you have a set of the previous knee brace that still utilizes that red material on both pieces and you're experiencing that, you can contact Pod. They will actually send you the replaceable part to update the brace if you're having that concern. So if you've seen this video in the past and you're watching now thinking, okay, well, what did they change? That is one running change that they made to the brace. That's the only thing different you're gonna see. Everything else is going to remain the same. But you get full coverage, again, CE level 2. We talk about the hinge design. So they are still using their human motion hinge technology. And inside here, you can see that red piece. That is material called Vectran. They say it's 5 times stronger than steel. And the purpose of that is to actually mimic the tendons or ligaments that you have inside your knee. So as this bends, it's doing what the ligaments inside your knee are also doing. And that's why they've used it. They use it on their K8 2.0 as well. The difference is that Vectran in the 3.0 is pre-curved just a little bit, again, just to help give the best and natural fit when you put the brace on. Straps. Some other cool updates with the strap. So 4-strap design. But here's what's kind of unique is this, I'll start with this middle strap. This middle strap right here, you can see, is gonna pivot all the way up, all the way down. And that is because they want this to be able to move to get into the best location possible when you're putting it on. But then down here, this lower strap, that's gonna sit on top of your calf. This is the strap that is mostly responsible for keeping the brace in place and not letting it slide. This strap is stationary. It does not move at all. That's because they don't want this strap to be able to slide down, which could potentially let the brace start sliding. So you put that in a fixed position. This is also really gonna help if you're a rider that does have smaller legs. Having that strap stationary, they feel, is just the best way to help keep the brace where it needs to be. But then even on the upper and the lower strap, which does have the quick release buckles, which is nice, so I can just pop those off real easily. But you'll notice that these straps do have a little bit of hinge to them, but it's limited. So with this one, you can see it stops right here. The reason for those straps having just a limited amount of motion is they don't want it to slide too far down, because you know, with this upper strap and this very lower strap, you see same thing. If this lower strap, if you guys say have smaller calves and it's able just to slide down completely, well, it's pretty much pointless at that point, where it's just loose, it's not really doing anything to stay in place, it's not holding the brace there like it should be. So they did want to allow these to move, but not enough to where they're not doing their job. And I do like that they have, again, the quick release buckles on those just to make it a little bit easier, more convenient to get in and out of the brace. All right, I do want to undo these real quick, just a couple of them so you can see here. The material that Pod uses, their foam here on the inside, honestly, I'd say of all the braces I've used, is probably my favorite. So it's not going to absorb any moisture, so it's not going to stink. And what I like about this foam is just the durability. After 2 full seasons of using that K8 2.0, their foam still looked almost like the day that I took it out of the box for the first time. So it's just like I had mentioned, the Pod knee braces, the build quality in these is phenomenal, and everything, including the foam, lasted me very, very well when I had a set of these. That is the new Pod K8 3.0. Awesome knee brace, completely new from the ground up. If you have questions or comments about it, please leave those down below. We'll get those answered. And as always, we ship for free over $75. If you want to pick up a set of these, there's a couple different colorways to choose from. Colorways are great, I guess, with knee braces, even though you can't see them, but hey, it's gonna be something that maybe people like. Oh, and I forgot to mention that the upper and the lower kneecap protectors are removable. So if you do want to rock this in a sport that isn't going to require impact protection over top of the knee, you can take those off with just some screws on the inside and rock it as a multi-sport knee brace. Questions, comments, again, leave those down below. Click the link or head to Rocky Mountain's website. I've already said it, I'll say it again. We ship for free over $75. And if you want to stay up to date on the latest and greatest products like this, get subscribed to the Rocky Mountain YouTube channel. I am Chase, and we'll see you on the trails.